The seal that we have on an American dollar bill is an occult seal of an occult society pursuing an occult agenda.
We're talking about a global government that's in existence right now. We're not talking about a nation that is going, we're talking about a nation that is gone. We do not control the government of the United States of America. The United States of America is controlled by this evil arc. They control the money system. They control the State Department. They control the presidents.
Realize that there is no right and left. There is no Republican or Democrat right now in America. There is only American citizens who love this country and those who are willing to sell us out to globalist dictators that are willing to sell their souls in this country for a buck. What you really have to understand is we cannot win this battle if the people do not know the war. And that is what I fear the most, is that people don't know who we're fighting. And look at your neighbors and your friends who have been propagandized and deceived to think that the enemy is within their neighborhood or in their city or in their town or even within their state or their country. The enemies are not Americans versus Americans. But right now, there are a lot of people greatly deceived by a PSYOP propaganda campaign that is nothing short. I always say Goebbels, Himmler, and Hitler are looking up from hell thinking, wow, those people in Silicon Valley are great. And that's where we are. If you watch my show, you know I don't believe that the Crown ever accepted the revolution happened anyway. We'll let the Americans think that they won, and we'll go in and infiltrate them through the banking system and through the government and through the military and through the news and the propaganda. But even worse than that is right now the enemy, and you got to articulate this to your friends because this is where we can meet in the middle, is an international banking cabal that has no compassion, no mercy, no humanity, no tolerance, no conscience. And they have a very long-term plan, and you've heard a lot about it today. But I really want you to understand what is going on and who the players are. I think, do you have a slide for me? Just one? Okay, so you can go to my website. It's themelkshow.com, and this is on there. This is from a brilliant man named Ian Smith of In This Together. I have seen nobody put on paper what the New World Order, One World Government, or as Brian Deese of BlackRock admitted this week, the Liberal World Order. And no, that wasn't a mistake because George Soros renamed it that about 10 years ago when he realized too many people were on to the One World Government plan. So don't be deceived. That was not an accident. But if you look at this screen, which you need to, this will tell you who we are fighting. And I will make it very clear to you. The public, that's us, okay? That is entire world of humanity. Gay, straight, black, white, Asian, Latino, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, doesn't matter. Everyone that they consider a useless eater, a resource, a problem for the resources because there's just way too many people, the whole depopulation, the whole myth of that we're running out of anything that God provided, all false, all set up during the Club of Rome and these groups that come out and they talk about how they need to somehow ration God's green earth, the water, the air, everything to the humans because there's just too many of us and we're causing a lot of problems for them. But it's not what they're saying, right? So there you have the public, that's us. Then you have the propagandists and the hybrid warfare specialists. That's NBC, ABC, CBS, MSNBC. I hate to say it, a lot of people over at Fox News, Newsmax. There are the fact checkers, Poynter Institute, Lead Stories, NewsGuard. They're overlords at the media. And I'll tell you one time there was a problem that they called Mockingbird Media when the CIA infiltrated the media. The problem is the CIA is now the media. We are at a mass psychological operation that is being conducted at the highest level that was come up with by the Satanist PSYOP head of the military named Aquino called Mind Wars. And we are in this mind war. Next level would be the national governments. That would be the installed regime. But honestly, The truth of the matter is, the installed regime goes side by side by the scientific authorities and the health authorities and people that we really didn't pay attention to until COVID. But they had been working for about 40 years to come up with a way to have science and medicine enslave us. Weird, right? So on top of that are the people you got to know about the most, which are the United Nations, the IMF, the IPCC, the World Bank, the World Health Organization, NGOs like the Open Society and the Tides Foundation and the Human Rights Campaign and the National Endowment for Democracy, all these things that sound really good, right? Well, you be careful about that. We got the global corporations and then thousands and thousands of George Soros and other backed NGOs all over the world that do something called color revolutions, which we in America are in the middle of one right now. And the biggest problem is above them is, as we've talked about a lot today, the World Economic Forum, Council of Foreign Relations, Club of Rome, Chatham House, which is the Council of Foreign Relations basically of the Crown, the Rockefellers, and above them is the biggest problem of all. What you need to understand is that there are 5 oligarchs, billionaires and trillionaires in America that are running this country, and not one government official has any power right now. None of them. They are all being controlled, blackmailed, bribed. They have committed crimes, be it financial, sexual. They have been blackmailed in a ring started by Epstein and Maxwell that seems to be going away, which we cannot allow. There are 10,000 hours of footage of blackmail operation from the Maxwell family and then from Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell that we the people deserve to see. We need to know who's on that footage. We need to know who's on the footage in the Wiener laptop. We need to know what people sold us out because they were too scared to get caught for crimes that they committed, which is what is going on. But what I do ask you is to look into the bankers in America right now. Because I will tell you right now, and they don't want you to know this, and I'm going to let you know, and then you're going to research it, and you're going to tell your friends who's running America. There's a man named Larry Fink. He runs a company called BlackRock. He thinks that he's the king of America, basically the world. Well, what people don't know about Larry Fink and BlackRock, and that he owns 90% of America and most of your pensions, is that Larry Fink thought that he was going to be Hillary Clinton's Treasury Secretary. And he set it up during the Obama administration to be just that. And then Donald Trump won. In the meantime, Larry Fink, where'd he go? Not just running all of the money in America, not just opening the only fund allowed by the CCP in China, that American money through BlackRock is being invested in the trillions, but he also joined the board of the World Economic Forum and became the architect of the Build Back Better bill. And guess what else? In January 2019, he summoned Joe Biden to his office. Joe Biden was at the bottom of the heap for all the people running for the Democratic Party. Within 2 weeks, everyone backed down and Joe Biden was in the lead. And you know what's going on now? Brian Deese and a half a dozen BlackRock people are running our economy. They are at the top level of the Treasury. Brian Deese is the one last week that talked about the liberal world order, why they need to keep slaughtering people in Ukraine that they don't care about, that they are funneling money through their $7 billion that they've already invested in Ukraine. Is anyone wondering why? No talk of peace? Well, I'll tell you why. Because that's how it's going to be. That was planned. This is about money. This is about power. And it's about the Great Reset. Well, Larry Fink, who basically has more power right now than the private Western central banks and the Fed, because he also runs POW's money. Okay? So you really have to start looking at, where are your pensions going? Where are your IRAs going? Where are your who's investing your money, and where are they investing it, and where is it going? It has to matter. You have to look it up. Don't listen to your financial advisor or, God forbid, your union head telling you they're taking care of it, because they're selling our country out. Another man that you should know about and look into is Eric Schmidt. He was the head of Google and and Alphabet, you know, he ran Google China. You know, Larry Fink is the creator of the ESG score, which is the social credit score that is about to be installed here if they get their central bank digital currency. Also, Larry Fink and BlackRock and Klaus Schwab. Larry Fink is on the board of World Economic Forum, also involved in the One World Identification System that would be a track and trace and surveillance, total control monitoring of you, your family, your future, your children, and everything you do, including predictive policing. I hope you all know that it's not just digital money, it's digital slavery. But Eric Schmidt, which you don't know, I'm sure, seems to be running the entire defense contracting business. It appears that Eric Schmidt and Schmidt Futures right now has about a half dozen of his people. So we got all these BlackRock people running our economy above anyone in the government. And we have Eric Schmidt and Schmidt Futures and a bunch of people that work for him running AI, the Department of Defense, and surveillance track and trace technology. Okay, so where is the government in this picture? And we all know who's running medicine and big pharma and agriculture. That would be Bill Gates. And we already know that Jeff Bezos is running manufacturing and space exploration. And we know that George Soros is running the social movements that are destroying our country from the inside out. So 5 billionaires, and believe me, there's 20 more, are running this country. And all of our people, you can take down the slide after this, but see where our government fits in? They are already running this model. It is called the Public-Private Partnership. It is out of the World Economic Forum and Davos, but the Bank of International Settlements and the central banks are above them. And it is about all of the corporations will be skipping our governments. All of the banks will be skipping our governments. Our governments of all of our nations will no longer have any power at all. So where do you think that leaves you? Where do you think that leaves any of us? The goal of the governments now that all pledged allegiance, our country pledged allegiance with John Kerry and Bloomberg and Biden and 800 people. Everyone should also look at who went to Glasgow at COP26 and pledged allegiance to the Build Back Better bill that was written by the World Economic Forum and is the same exact bill in every G20 nation. So what I'm saying to you now is when we tell you that we are in danger, we can win this battle, but not if we think we're fighting each other. And this model, they're playing it out in every country in this world. Okay? So the big deal here is to sit down next to your liberal friends that have been brainwashed and say, you know what? It doesn't matter what you think about rights for LGBTQ or what they're doing to our children or what they're doing to our schools or any of that if we are all slaves. We will have no freedom, and our founding fathers will have failed because we allowed it to happen again and worse. None of these people were elected. We need to call them out by name without fear. And what you need to do is you need to look in your own community and you need to find like-minded folks. But the bigger thing is find people that don't agree with you and ask them who's running this country and have they heard of any of the people I just mentioned. Because I am telling you right now, we have an oligarchy here, no different than the French Revolution, and it is taking over this world, and the rest of the world is counting on America, and we're not going to let them down. We are the last bastion of freedom on planet Earth, and it doesn't matter what they say. They stole not only this election, but hundreds of them around the world. They are paying puppets, they are stealing countries, they are overthrowing regimes to keep the power of the few in the hands of a bunch of bankers that have bought and paid for most of our politicians, local to federal. So you find out where the money is going that you are investing in this country, and you change paths. We should not be giving these central bankers or any of these people 1 cent of our money if we don't have to. Invest locally. Switch to local banks that are putting money back into your community, which was what it was supposed to be to begin with. Demand that they end the Fed once and for all, and that the bankers that got away with it because of BlackRock and Obama and Biden in 2008 finally pay. Because they stole our country then and they never paid for it, and they're stealing it now because we allowed it. So please, please do your own research. Go to themlkshow.com. Resources, it's free. Find out who the enemy is and tell everyone it ain't American citizens, it is them. They are doing it all. They know what they're doing. Divided we fall, and they know it. So let's unite like we never have before. Please keep showing up. Please know that you have the power. Please be brave. And no matter what, if you know you're being propagandized, they can't do it. Question everything. Find the facts yourself. God bless America. God wins. The rest of the world is counting on us. Do your research, share it, and be brave. Thank you so much.
Here's the rest of it.
And they said I was bonded with the universe. And that animal would give me strength to carry out the things that I would need to know when I became of age. And then after it happened, they killed the animal and they poured his blood all over me. And then I just sat there and I kept asking why, and they would never tell me why. They said that the blood covers and protects. That's all they would tell me.
Well, Rebecca, that is a perversion of scriptural truth, because it is the blood of Christ that covers and protects us and forgives us from all sin.
You can help me?
The first thing we can do is pray for you.
Does it hurt?
It doesn't hurt.
Do I have to cut myself?
You do not have to cut yourself. In the name of our Father in heaven and His Son, the Lord Jesus Christ, we just pray right now for the peace and comfort of God to come upon Rebecca. We bind all the powers of darkness, and I place the blood of Christ on Rebecca right now. You are bound. And Rebecca is being loosed. Rebecca is being loosed by the power of Jesus Christ.
What's happening?
Don't worry, Rebecca. God is in control. Don't you worry. Who are you? Who are you? The keeper? You are not the keeper.
The guardian.
You are not the guardian.
Who am I?
You are subject to Jesus Christ. You who call yourself keeper, is Jesus Christ Lord? To whom does she belong?
Right now, she belongs to my master.
She will not continue to belong to him.
We'll do everything we can to terminate her.
You can't terminate her.
I'm so confused.
You who call yourself the keeper, speak to me. In the name of Christ, you speak to me.
What?
You let her go.
Why should I let her go? She belongs to me.
Not forever.
I was sent here to protect her, to guide her, and to lead her.
Jesus Christ came here to die for her.
She has not yet made that choice.
She will make that choice. And you know very well it's a miracle that she called. It's a miracle she called today, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it?
Someone out there was praying for her.
Well, that's your problem. How many more of you are there?
How many people?
How many more of your kind?
There are hundreds.
Well, the hold is being broken.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, and you know very well it is being broken. God did not have her call me by an accident, and God would not have thousands of people praying right now. And you know very well that your hold is being broken now.
We will have her on our Hallows Eve.
No, you will not have her on your Hallows Eve. You will not have...
Ours.
No, she will not be yours forever. She will belong to Jesus Christ.
She, like David, will burn. He's deceived.
Who's David? The David we were talking to a moment ago?
He's deceived.
Is Satan defeated? Did Jesus Christ rise from the dead?
Yes.
Then you are defeated too. And your hour has come to an end.
I have a right to be here.
What is the right?
She has not accepted your God.
I find you to submerge and hold your tongue silent. Rebecca,
What?
do you want love in your life?
I'm scared of it.
Did you want it?
Yes.
Do you want God?
I don't know who he is.
Do you want Him? Do you want Him if He is love?
If it's true.
Then say, I, Rebecca. Keeper, stay out of the way in Jesus' name. Say, I, Rebecca,
Oh, Rebecca.
want love.
What?
I want God. Stay out of the way, Keeper. Stay out of the way.
Love.
I want out.
I want help.
Say, I put my trust
I put my trust
in God.
in God.
In God. Stay out of the way, Keeper.
God.
And Jesus Christ. Say, and
And
Jesus. Say, Jesus. Keeper, stay out of the way. Stay out of the way, Keeper.
Jesus
Christ.
Christ.
Keeper, you are bound. You stay.
They claim to be ascended masters, highly advanced spirit beings, even on other planets, people on various astral planes who had reincarnated and then gone on to perfection, Tibetan Buddhists, whatever they say they are, Jesus Christ, Buddha, your Aunt Vera, whoever. If you strip away the covering, you'll find a demon behind every one of these voices, behind every one of the spirits. In fact, one of their most clever ploys is to appear, as the Bible says, even Satan disguises as an angel of light. We're seeing these emissaries of evil that are dressing in the most wonderful packaging, so people are accepting them as genuine. People are seeing them as good and pure. And in reality, even the good ones are demon spirits.
Desmond came to me when I was about 6 years old. I had a chalkboard where he would write, "I am Desmond." And this kept happening until one day I just said, "Hello, Desmond," and it stopped. And then other things started to happen. Working with a spirit energy comes with challenges because there's no control. So if Desmond doesn't show up, there's literally no act.
Desmond came to me when I was about 6 years old. There's no control. So if Desmond doesn't show up, there's literally no act.
There's no question in my mind now that they were demon spirits. If you had asked me then, I would have believed entirely that they were higher beings, a higher spiritual order of beings. I wouldn't have believed in demons. I didn't think they existed. I thought they were an invention of the Christian church. In retrospect now, I can see back with horrible clarity that they were malevolent, created, demonic spirits intent on our destruction. One of the things the entities used to do was they used to test us. It was as though we were being brainwashed. We'd be told to do something very bizarre immediately, or we'd be told to go at midnight to this certain forest that was very, very terrifying to us because there'd been a number of manifestations there. We'd be told to go alone there at midnight and stay there for an hour and then come home. And they were testing our readiness to respond immediately to their commands. And we were not to test them ever, because they always said, proof comes to those who do not ask for it.
I can understand why you say that, yes. He's my spirit energy that I've sort of had a little communication with throughout my life. So here's what we're going to do. I have here a piece of chalk.
Yes.
Howie, hold that chalk. As you do, I want you to think of somebody you have an emotional connection with.
Okay.
Okay? Don't say it.
All right.
Just the first name.
Okay.
Somebody I couldn't possibly know. Okay?
All right.
Now, I have here 2 blank chalkboards. Okay? I'm using chalkboards, that way you know it's analog. There's no digital electronics, nothing like that, okay?
Okay.
So watch, hand me the chalk. I'm literally going to just place it between the boards. Hold on like that, sealed, so I could do nothing. And think of the name as you tilt left and right.
Think, Howie.
Think. And stare at those chalkboards. Now, I want to include some randomness. Can we get Nick to come out here? Would you be okay with that? Yeah?
Yeah.
Nick? Good. I'm going to involve mathematics. And Nick, I need you to name a random 2-digit number. Say it out loud.
23.
23. Yes? All right, that's what we're going to use. Remember that. 23. Nick, thank you.
Random.
Notice, Nick gave me that number after I handed him those slates. Desmond, use mathematics. Could you feel the chalk move?
No.
No. Desmond, I'm going to ask that you come through for me in a big way. I want you to move this chalk for Howie.
Desmond! Desmond!
Stop. These were blank a second ago. Can you see some writing?
Yes.
Yes? Truly. Now look, hold those up. That is a zodiac calendar. I'm going to get to that in a second. Random numbers just like Nick's. But Howie, you were thinking of a name.
I was.
No way I could know.
I
No way.
can't imagine you
For the
do.
first time, name the name you were merely thinking of for Desmond.
Steve.
Steve.
Whoa.
Wow.
Howie, hold on to that. Truly no way I could have known, but I want you guys to take a close look at these numbers because this is a zodiac calendar. Nick gave us a number 23, right?
Right.
These look like random numbers, but it's not. 3 plus 11 is 14, plus 5 is 19, plus 4 is 23, the number Nick gave us. 1 plus 8 is 9, plus 10 is 19, plus 4 is 23. Each row adds up to 23 if you look closely. Howard, what month were you born?
January.
January, that's 1. If you see, Howard's month is right there. What month were you born, Heidi?
June.
June. That is a 6, right there. Mel B. What
May.
month?
5.
5. Howie, what month were you born?
November.
November.
11.
That is 11. Check it out. 11 plus 1 is 12. Plus 5,
17.
plus 6,
23.
23. Desmond has created a zodiac calendar based off of your We Have Had contact. Thank you.
Wow.
Tonight, whatever I do to this doll, Desmond is going to make you feel. So I need you to sit up straight, close your eyes. Easy. Good.
What does that mean?
I've placed Desmond inside of you, Mel. Tonight, I need to know, do you believe in Desmond? Be honest.
Not really.
Wrong answer, Mel B. Lucky for us, I brought with me my scary spice doll. I call this last part the convincer. Oh no. Did you feel it? Yes?
Yeah!
Give Mel B a big round of applause!
My God! No!
Be careful.
They're not
these pure, altruistic, beautiful beings that they seem to be. If you strip away the covering, you'll find a demon behind every one of these voices, behind every one of the spirits. That they were malevolent, demonic spirits intent on our destruction.
One of the driving forces behind this movement, the Illuminati, is the satanic cult movement in this country today. So I began my little journey forward. And one of the matters that I developed information about was an individual I learned about with Aleister Crowley. He likes to have his name pronounced Crowley to rhyme with holy. And the Satanists today, and for the number of years in the past, have basically used his philosophy and his writings as a guide.
He had so many Masonic degrees that you could fill up 5 pages of a book with them. This guy was probably the most highly honored Mason in the world. He styled himself the wickedest man in the world. He believed himself to be the great beast, and he changed his name to Aleister Crowley, so it would add up in both English, Hebrew, and Greek Kabbalah as 666. In 1904, Crowley had a communication with an extraterrestrial being named Iwas. And this being, through his wife, kind of a channeling type operation, brought forth a book that was called the Book of the Law in 1904. And this book declared that the slain and risen God, i.e. Jesus, had stepped off the throne, and that a new God, the crowned and conquering child, was taking his place. As a result of this, Crowley proclaimed the end of Christianity and the start of Crowleyanity. Crowley taught that the way you could live forever was by vampirizing little children sexually. And he personally bragged of having slaughtered 150 male children in 1 year. This is why he was called the wickedest man in the world.
And now listen to this sentence, folks, closely. For the highest spiritual working, one must accordingly choose that victim which contains the greatest and purest force. A male child of perfect innocence and high intelligence is the most satisfactory and suitable system. We're talking about human sacrifices.
And they'd also drug them up, and they'd take a sacrificial knife and they'd start from the chest and move all the way down to your abdomen. And then that's how they sacrificed, and they'd collect the blood and they'd drink it. When the mid-September through mid-November, they sacrifice babies and nothing but babies because they need the pure blood of the untainted children. And I didn't understand what it was like. I can't believe I'm seeing this every year of my life. I've experienced that, and that was the hardest part for me, is like hearing those babies literally scream and cry, and then seeing their blood flow.
The little boy was taken to a basement. He was crucified alive. First he was skinned.
Why is it that no one knows this?
Because there's Satanists in the police force and also in the government, the army. They're everywhere. They're even on the council of the representatives of the United States also. And they're silenced because this is not being exposed, because they don't want it to be exposed, because they're really good at lying and hiding things.
Rebecca, what happens to the people that want to come out of Satanism?
They get killed. They get followed. They get taken. They get sacrificed in front of the congregation of the Satanic Church.
Why?
Because they know too much information about the Satanists and who their names in places of where they keep the people underground, and they just know too much information. It's like being in a gang or in a mafia. You don't get out alive without consequences.
They gain control of the world by bankrupting their own businesses. The Illuminati owns most, I would say 99 9/10 of the stores that you walk into and shop and the gas stations you go to. And they are going to destroy them on purpose. And the idea of taking over is to bankrupt the whole world where nothing is of any value and the currency does not exist anywhere, and then come back and solve all the problems.
These guys who are manipulating my mind and programming me for mind control purposes claimed, and these criminals in control of our country as well, claimed to be gods, demons, and aliens, in order that I feel totally helpless, in order that I felt like they were beyond my realm to affect.
Why do they keep the aliens in a Faraday-shielded environment? Because they have a tendency to disappear right through walls. And if you can prevent the transmission of electromagnetic energy, you can stop them from doing it.
Then, the medium said, we have a very special surprise tonight for you people. A spirit will manifest itself openly here in a few minutes, and right through the wall. Now, the lights weren't terribly bright, but they were like living room lights. A couple of floor lamps, and maybe some of these. And that translucent being seemed to come right out of the wall.
How did you feel right at that moment?
It's almost like my heart stopped a little bit. You know, very weird feeling. It was a lady in a beautiful evening gown, swirling. And she said to Mary, my dear sister, you are so wonderful to have asked for me. So, he said the supposed spirits of the dead that you're talking with are demon spirits. They're fallen angels. They're beautiful beings.
Just set it out, just like that.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't make you uneasy when he said they were
Well,
demons?
it shocked you a little bit, something that you first hear mentioned to you. He said, you guys have got a great future ahead of you. Because we've been told, the high priest of our society, secret society, has been told that the master has very special plans for you too.
Now, what did he mean by the master?
Satan. He said that she was made successful in her singing career by a dear friend of hers that was the same age as she, and died when she was 18 years of age. And Loretta was trying to get into the singing world, but she says, I had no success at all. Until one night I was sitting in bed reading a book, and she says, who walks right through the wall but my friend, the spirit of my friend? And she says, Loretta, I'm going to make you a very famous person in singing Western country music, and I will be with you all the time. She said her voice went through me. The power. See?
And you saw this in a television documentary?
Yeah. This was, I believe, 1976 it took place. Now, the priest explained that when people believe in this business, they are actually opening themselves to be completely deceived by demon spirits, because it gives the demon spirits an opportunity to impersonate the dead. See? And for people to believe their lies.
Isaiah 14 and 11 even speaks of vials being built into his body. Vials are pipes.
The piper is calling you to join him.
The Illuminati doesn't produce rock music to entertain you. They don't produce rock music to make money. They don't need that money. They own everything anyway. They do it to put demonic influence in your life.
Now, I've got a clean copy of it now, and I warn you, this could scare you. Here's the email. Dear Art Bell, I just recently began listening to your radio show and could not believe it when you talked about the sounds from hell tonight. My uncle had told me this story a couple of years ago, and I didn't believe him. Like one of your listeners who discounted the story as nothing more than just a religious newspaper fabricated account. The story about the digging of the hole and the hearing of the sounds from hell is very real. It did occur in Siberia. My uncle collected videos and audio tapes and so forth on the paranormal, supernatural. He passed away fairly recently, but he would have loved your show. He let me listen to one of the audio tapes that he had on the sounds from hell in Siberia, and I copied it. He received his copy from a friend who worked at the BBC. It took me a while to find it tonight, but attached is that sound from my uncle's tapes. It's not the greatest quality, but the sounds are there. I was very hesitant to send you this, as the sound bothers me to listen to. I'd suggest that if you do play it on the program, warn listeners in advance so they may have the option of turning the radio off for 30 seconds while it plays. It has always haunted me. To those who discounted the Siberia sounds from hell story, it is true, and I, for one, wish it wasn't. Rick, listening from Chicago. And so I submit now the cleaned, a better copy to you, and I warn you, what you're about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Its symptom is anger. Its symptom is rage. Its symptom is war. The disease is human emotion. But Libria, congratulate you, for there is a cure for this disease.
At the cost of the dizzying highs of human emotion, we have suppressed its abysmal lows. And you, as a society, have embraced this cure.